Oh! Flat tyre. Gonna have to fix it out in the bush on our own. First thing to do, swing the bike around, check out where your gears are. Get the chain down onto the small sprocket with the gears. Release the tension on the gears. Lift the seat, get that chain down to this sprocket. That enables you to get the tyre out easier, get the whole wheel out. Next, to make things easy, when you're outside, what you need to do, we'll turn the bike over. But first of all, undo the quick release on the wheel, on the rear, so that the wheel will drop out. Sometimes you have to actually turn it a few times whilst holding the nut on the other side. That relieves the tension so the wheel will just drop out. Put the wheel aside, turn the bike upside down. So, here's our punctured tyre. We don't know what happened, we don't know what we hit, can't see anything on the tyre, no cuts, nothing around here. So we'll take the tyre off the wheel with the tube and we'll take it out and find out what's happened and fix it. First thing, bag. We're going to get the tools out. Make sure if you've got keys loose, at this point, if you're in the bush somewhere, you don't want to lose anything that's valuable. Tuck it inside. Check out the size. This is a 27.5 tyre. You have to match it with the right size tube. That's a 29 tube. That's a 27.5. Now, if we didn't have a tube, we need a puncture kit. Possibly glue. Got some tyre levers and some more patches. But these levers are good enough to take off nearly every tyre on a bike, apart from a motorbike. Taking the wheel, keep the valve at the top. Now there might be some air left in it because it might not have all come out. So try and squeeze that air out. It's quite important because it will stop you taking the tyre off easily if there's air still in it. Now take that valve and put it down at the bottom. Put your feet either side of the tyre and try to hold the rim down with your feet just on the rim. Pull the tyre and push it off the rim. When a tyre is blown up, this part of the tyre hugs onto the rim, makes a seal, and sometimes you have to push it off the rim to make it free. You can see it's free all the way around on both sides. Then put the wheel between your legs with the valve at the bottom and pull the tyre up and see if you've got a lot of flexibility in that tyre. Now you might be able to pull the tyre off. I can just about pull this tyre off with my hands, and if I tried hard and carried on, I could pull this whole tyre off just with my hands. But not all tyres will do that. Some are far too tight, so you have to use levers. You can see they've got a little bit of a bend, a lip at the top, and then they've got a hook at the bottom. See this hook? But this hook goes round the spoke on the wheel. This bend goes under the rim of the tyre, and I'll show you what that looks like now. So pull that tyre back. You see you get that lever just under there, you can see the tyre comes off, and with the hook you just hook it round the spoke. Now that's going to stay there. I take the second tyre lever and about 4 inches away I do the same thing, but this time I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to move further on another 4 inches and I'm going to pull it out. This lever doesn't need to be in there anymore because we've released all the tension on the tyre bead. Now we can just pull that tyre off the rim till we get to a point where it's very loose, and we just put the lever in there and wrap it all the way around and it's done. On the top here, depending on what type of valve you've got, there's a little lock nut. We have to take that lock nut off. Now we've got that tyre pretty much off. I'm going to pull the inner tube out by pulling the valve out, and there's our tube. Now we've got the inner tube out, we've got to find out what punctured this tyre. Take the tyre and have a look at the tyre. We can take it right off the rim and we can go right around the tyre and see if there's any tears in the tyre. There probably aren't on this tyre because there was still some air left in the tube. If the tyre had been ripped, then the tube was probably ripped. But there's nothing there. So now we take our thumbs and put them just inside the tyre. And we move slowly and gently around the tyre inside, all the way from the middle to the sides, to see if we can find a thorn or a piece of glass or a staple or often a road tack, something that has gotten into the tyre. We can't always tell what that was going to be, and I can't find anything in this one. But sometimes that happens because the thorn goes in and it stays on the branch and it comes back out. It's just done the damage. So nothing in that tyre. We can put that aside, then we'll put this tube in. Make sure before you go out that this tube is definitely not punctured, so you know that that one is in good condition. And we put that within the tyre and we're good to go. However, if it's our second puncture, or if we don't have that spare tube anymore, for whatever reason, you need to learn how to do this. Put a patch on the tyre. We can see one that's already been done here. And what this is just a little rubber patch which is being glued over the top of the hole. You can also buy these patches which don't require any glue. First thing that I do is I take off my gloves. I'll take the tube and I'll pump it up, get some air in the tube. Obviously this tube has already gone down and it may not want to pump up very well, but it might be a slow puncture. And go around the tube with your hand very slowly. Even if the wind's blowing, you should be able to feel a little bit of air on your hands. And it might take a while. Just be patient, take your time. It's probably going to be on the outside of the tube. And there it is. Get it by your lips and your cheek and you'll be able to feel it. It's very, very small, just tiny little hole, can't even see it. But it's enough to leak. How do we solve this problem? Well, the first thing in the bush, put some marks on your tube so you can remember where it is. And then feel again with your finger, find where that hole is, and just give it a bit of a clean in that area. See, you're just going to shine it up a bit. If you've got any hand cleaner in your emergency kit, little tube of hand cleaner, use that. The alcohol in it helps clean the tube and that really helps adhere the patch. Now if you're unlucky and the hole is right on this rubber seam here, you're going to need to take some of that away so that it doesn't create a way for the air to get out under the patch. But fortunately we're a little bit further over, so we should be all right. I'm just going to keep cleaning it a bit because the tube has a very slippery, rubbery, oily surface to them, and you have to get that off. So here we go. I think that's going to be good. The tyre's going down. I'm going to just pump it up a little bit more. Now you want to do this while the tube is slightly inflated. Peel her off gently and quickly feel where that air is. Yep, I can feel it coming out. There you go. And give it a good squeeze. Right, so that's good to go. It'll definitely get you home. It might even become a permanent fixture. But if you put it back in and you don't replace it or replace the tube when you get home, it'd be worth checking if that's leaking next time you get a puncture. Now we let the air out. We don't need to get absolutely all the air out, just enough to make it sag, like that. And we go back to the wheel. First, Look at the direction of the tyre. See where it's got like an arrow facing, that's the forward direction. So you want to orientate the wheel so that it's always going forward and the cassette's always on your right. So you put the tyre back in the direction of travel. On one side only first, you clip that tyre back in. See that tyre is on the rim now and she's not going to fall off. So we really want to be, we can just put the hole over right down there. We take the wheel around till the hole is at the top. There's the hole where the valve goes through. We'll take our valve and put it through that hole. And then take the tyre and push the inner tube inside the tyre. At the top first by the valve. Then we push the tyre open with the, push the tube into the tyre all the way around. And gently, starting at the top here, we just push that bead in. Now the reason you start here is because that valve needs to seat properly and it needs to seat on top of the rim. We pull it round, pushing the tube into the tyre all the way around. When you get to here, it's easier if you pull it back up. Quite often you can pull the tyre straight onto the rim. You give it a bit of a shake and then you can pop it on. But if it's a lot of trouble and it won't go on, then you use your tyre levers again. I'll just take it off and show you. This time we turn it round, clip it just inside the rim and pop, and on it goes. Now your tyre is back on the rim with the in tube in it. Just make sure that it is seated properly. I like to give it a bit of a shake around so that it sits straight on the rim. And take your very important little nut and put it back on the valve. So our wheel's all ready to put back in, and we'll drop it straight in the right way around. If you're out in the bush and you don't want to get your hands covered in dirt, I use sticks so that I don't have to touch the chain. And I'll hook it under the chain so that I can grab that point there where the cassette meets the chain. Okay, and I'll lower it slightly, just down to the bike. It's not quite in yet, but I'll let go of the chain now and the stick. And then I have to get the brake disc to go into the brake pads, which can be a bit fiddly, but practice, and there it is. So the wheel is now back in the bike, all lined up. I just have to tighten it in. Now tightening your skewer, the fixing method here, can be a bit tricky. You have to get the tension right. The wheel's turning fine there, but it's still loose. So if you want to have a look at this side of the bike has the quick release on it. Okay, it must always be on this side. There's still quick release here. But in order to tighten this down on the axle, I hold onto the bolt on the other side, the bolt cap, and I spin it. And I keep testing it like this to see if it's tight yet. It's not quite tight yet. One way to find out if it's tight or not is when it's about halfway and you're feeling quite a bit of tension, you can tighten it and see if that tightens up. Now, as you can see, the wheel's not in straight. It's lopsided, which means that I have to undo it again and make the wheel drop. See, just like that, right back into place. Now I can tighten it again. It's still a little bit loose for me, so I'm going to tighten it on this side, on the gear side, just to make sure it's tight enough. Otherwise your wheel stands to possibly come out while you're riding. So that's quite tight. Wheel spins nicely. So the wheel's back in. We're just going to put the air in it, and then we're going to do a final adjustment to make sure it's correct. So this pump is a large capacity pump, which means that it should go up pretty quickly. And it's not too much effort. You want to get it pumped up so it's about 30 psi, quite firm, firmer than an orange. Sometimes it helps if you brace yourself against the bike so the bike doesn't move, or you get somebody to hold it for you. Some people prefer to do this with the bike lying on its side so that the bike can't move that way. Again, you're holding it and you're pushing down. Now, pumps do pump up different size tyres. This one's specific for this valve, but there's a little lever on the back here, and that's to ensure the seal when you put it on the valve. So we're going to do that again with it open. You get the valve on, put the little clip on, and that's about right. We close the valve and tighten up this nut and make sure it's tight. Then right the bike, put the back brake on by pulling that brake, and then release the quick release. This allows the wheel to find its best place and sit in the lugs properly, then tighten up. You can hold the spokes while you push this in. And there, we've fixed our puncture. Sometimes, to get the back wheel off, we have a different lock arrangement on the bike. This is called a skewer quick release, and that's quite a long established, old-fashioned way of doing things. Modern way to do things is with a bolt, and the bolt looks like this. And that's just a matter of turning anti-clockwise until the bolt comes out. Once you have the bolt out, the whole procedure is exactly the same as with the quick release method. And to put it back in, you align it the same way and just slide the bolt back in and tighten it all back up. Now this doesn't need to be incredibly tight, just a good turn on it and you're all done. Have a quick check, you haven't left anything. Okay, so you can go home now. Cheers. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, feel free to like the video, share it with a mate, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on what's coming next. See you out there for the next one.